and welcome to Columbus State University's Oxbow Meadows. I'm Miss Ashley, and today we're going to be talking about the water cycle. We're going to be looking at a model to see what happens out in the real world, in rivers and ponds and streams, even like the pond behind me here. It experiences the water cycle throughout the year, throughout the day. So there's precipitation, evaporation, and condensation involved in the water cycle. We're going to get a chance to see some of this evaporation from the ponds inside of the model, some of the condensation formed by some ice getting heated up in the sun. It's a nice sunny day today. And some precipitation, so some of that water falling back down into the ponds or streams in our model. Let's take a look and see what we notice and what we wonder and what we can gather from this information, or what we think about the observations we're able to make. Let's look at the model. Here's our water cycle model. You may notice some mountains, some hills, some grass, and even some little ponds and a little river in there. What we're going to do is go ahead and put some ice on top of our model. We're going to put these right there in the clouds. Why do you think I would be putting ice in the clouds? What do you think clouds are made of? Well, ice is made from water. Ice is the solid state of water. So clouds, if you guessed, are made of water. Now we need to wait and let some time pass. Let's see what happens in the sun to the ice and what happens in our model to show what would happen in the water cycle. What did you see happening as the ice melted? Did you notice anything happening underneath the plastic inside the model? As you watched the water cycle happen in our model, did you notice any condensation forming? What is condensation? You may have noticed that vapor building up on the underside of the clouds on our model right here. So anything under here that was forming from the ice melting on top is condensation. Just like if you've ever had a cold drink and you take it out of the refrigerator in the summertime and you let it sit maybe outside in the sun or somewhere it's warmer than it would be in the refrigerator, you may notice that drink or that beverage starting to sweat. That sweat or that liquid water on the outside of that bottle or that can, that's actually condensation, very similar to what's happening or forming in clouds. You may have also noticed once that condensation started forming, the clouds, it starts to get very heavy. As water in the clouds or water vapor starts to get heavy and pulled downward from gravity, what do you think happens to that water that's up high in the sky in the clouds? Well, if you guess that that water has to come down from gravity or rain, like precipitation, snow, rain, sleet, then you're right. Precipitation is that final part of the water cycle. You may notice as our model is sitting here that as it heats up in the sun, that water has precipitated down into the model and covered the mountains and located in the streams down here in this part of the model. You may notice as the sun heats up the water in the pond that it starts to get very steamy inside of there. That steam that you see, or that fog, that is evaporation. That water is evaporating or leaving the ponds and the streams and traveling back up into the air to form condensation in the clouds. I want you to look into the water cycle and see if you can see any signs of the water cycle around your home or your school. If you haven't already, I want you to write down what you've noticed or seen with your eyes. Those are your observations. And anything that you wonder. Is there anything strange or interesting to you? Why do you think those things, or why are you asking those questions? What answers can you give or think about the water cycle? Record your observations, your questions, and your thoughts.